A Filipino mayor may actually be a Chinese woman working for the CCP. The story only gets crazier from there. Welcome to China Uncensored, I'm Chris Chappell. The Philippines may be onto a Chinese conspiracy so intricate and wild, you'd think it was the plot to some thriller flick. I would call it Dr. Filipino. This is why you watch China Uncensored. Earlier this year, small-town Filipino mayor Alice Guo was accused of being a Chinese spy and suspended as mayor with no pay up to 6 months while the investigation plays out. Maybe a better title would be From China with Love. Now, I covered the story in a previous episode. I'll leave a link below to that. But things just kept getting weirder. As a recap, Guo drew national attention after the police raided Zunyuan Technology Inc., a Philippine offshore gaming operator, or Pogo, in her constituency of Banban back in March. During the raid, police found several documents that tied Guo to the Pogo's operations. This led to a Senate hearing where Guo was questioned about her involvement with the Pogo and seemed unable to answer basic questions about her background. Guo claimed that she grew up on a pig farm and was homeschooled. And yet, she couldn't remember the name of the organization that homeschooled her. She also said that her birth certificate was only registered with local authorities when she was 19 because she was born at home and not in a clinic or hospital. And you know how busy people can get. I mean, who has time in 19 years to do something as unimportant as get a birth certificate? Guo gave conflicting information about her father, Angelito Guo, whose business records identify him as Jian Zhong Guo. At one point saying he was Filipino even though she had previously said he was Chinese. And it just keeps getting weirder. As people kept digging into her past, they're finding more and more inconsistencies. Guo has explained away previous inconsistencies by claiming that she is the love child of her father and Amelia Leal, a Filipina maid who worked for her father's wife. She says she didn't want to upset her father. But that story has flaws as well. For one, the birth certificates of Alice Guo and her 2 siblings show that her father, Angelito Guo, married her supposed mother, Amelia Leal, but the 3 certificates have 3 different marriage dates. Maybe there were multiple Amelia Leals and her father married them all. Yeah, that's it. But there might not be an Amelia Leal. Investigators found no records of her birth, leading one official from the Philippine Statistics Authority to say that it's possible she doesn't exist. Which makes perfect sense. Like I said, who has time to get a birth certificate? Nothing shady here at all. So who is Guo's mother if not Amelia Leal? One candidate is a Chinese citizen named Lin Wenyi. She was listed as the incorporator of several registered companies of the mayor's family. Alice Guo's affiliates deny this, saying that Lin is just her father's partner in the non-romantic sense. But if that's the case, then why did Alice Guo list Lin Wenyi as her mother in bank accounts? In fact, she listed a whole bunch of names, such as Winnie Leal, Wenny Leal Lin, Winnie Lin Leal, Winnie C. Leal, and Amelia Lim Leal. Honestly, this is the most compelling evidence I've seen of her being a Chinese agent, since everyone knows that Winnie is the leader of the CCP. But don't worry, that's totally normal behavior. I should know because my mom goes by a dozen different names, and she didn't even give birth to me. And she's also a Shutterstock model. Yep, that's my mom. If Alice Guo's real mother is Chinese, then this throws a pretty big wrench in Guo's claim to Filipino citizenship, since the Philippines grants citizenship through the mother. Guo insists that she is a Philippine passport holder and that she only has 1 passport. But a recent continuation of the Senate hearing on Pogos puts that into question. You know you're shady when you lie too much to be a politician. Guo has a lot of answering to do because, as it turns out, there are 2 Alice Leal Guos, both born in Tarlac on July 12, 1986. This is turning into such a cliche thriller movie plot. I wouldn't be surprised if they both end up grappling each other on a rooftop with someone holding a gun trying to decide who's the real Alice Guo. And guess what else? The mayor, Alice Guo's fingerprints matched that of a Chinese woman named Guo Huaping. This Chinese woman with a similar name and identical face stole the mayor's fingerprints. Quick, arrest her for identity theft. Records from the Board of Investments of the Guo family's application for a special investor's resident visa shows Alice Guo, or shall I say Guo Huaping, entered the Philippines on January 12, 2003 when she was 13 years old. It also shows inconsistencies with her official birth date. According to those documents, rather than being born in Tarlac on July 12, 1986, Guo was actually born in Fujian, China on August 31st, 1990. So she's a 90s baby and not an 80s baby like me? Now I can tolerate lying about your name, parents, and literally everything else. But this is where I feel personally betrayed. According to Senator Risa Hontiveros, this confirms what I have suspected all along. Mayor Alice is a fake Filipino, or should I say Guo Huaping. She is a Chinese national masquerading as a Filipino citizen to facilitate crimes being committed by Philippine offshore gaming operators. The Senate probe also found that Guo allegedly faked her incorporators in the Pogo Hongshan gaming technology by stealing the identities of vendors at the public market in Tarlac. Is there an identity she won't steal? I don't even know if I'm safe at this point. All in all, it was probably a pretty good call for the Philippine Nationalist People's Coalition to expel Guo from its roster. Too much of a liar and too corrupt to be a politician. This is almost as impressive as it is nefarious. So what happens next? Well, Guo could possibly be deported, but before then, there's a lot more that needs to be uncovered, such as her human trafficking charges. Guo was linked to an alleged grand conspiracy to commit labor trafficking of around 500 foreign Pogo workers who were rescued during a raid on the compound on March 13th. Just in case Guo is thinking of ditching town, the Philippines Justice Department issued an immigration lookout bulletin order on her. And now lots of Pogo scam suspects are trying to flee the Philippines. Guo's family is being subpoenaed. This includes Guo's father, suspected biological mother, and her siblings Sheila, Seaman, and Wesley Leal, along with the accountant in charge of filing documents for Guo's family's businesses. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they were all just Guo in a series of wigs. And there are also Guo's business partners. Authorities continue to search through potential sources of information on them. It'll be quite a ride as more information comes out, so stay tuned for updates to see the thrilling conclusion of Dr. Filipino. The CCP hates it when I scrutinize what Chinese criminals, especially those with direct CCP ties, do abroad. That's why Chinese state-run media has called China Uncensored disgraceful anti-China garbage. So join what I call the China Uncensored 50-cent army on Patreon. And as a thank you to everyone who gives on Patreon, I'll respond to one of your questions or comments at the end of these episodes. Today's comes from Mervin. Are Chinese players on Steam, and also don't forget consoles, facing significant restrictions in playing video games, including gaming websites such as itch.io and Humble Bundle? If not, then why isn't Steam banned in China? Wonderful question, Mervin. I'm actually beginning to work on a story about the CCP's connection to China's gaming industry and how that might be worse than TikTok. But as for Steam specifically, the main website was blacklisted by the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology in December 2021, making it inaccessible without a VPN. Now, there must be enough people getting on Steam in China with a VPN because there are simplified Chinese-only games that have sold almost 1 million copies. It's possible to pay for games on Steam using the Chinese currency renminbi, either through WeChat Pay or Alipay, the two largest e-payment services in China. The CCP is heavily regulating the gaming industry, allowing just 3 hours of playtime a week for minors. But clearly people are still playing games. This is where things get very murky in a country without the rule of law. Everything is kind of arbitrary and depends on the whims of officials. So you could be a Chinese gamer accessing Steam through a VPN with no problem for years until it suddenly becomes a problem. Thanks for your question and support, Mervin. If you're interested in gaming, I also have another video I'd like you to watch. This one from my newest channel, Gamers Unbeaten, where I hide controversial topics in short videos on video games featuring politics, philosophy, and my patented sense of humor, actual patent pending. This one is about the lure of charismatic leaders in Dragon's Dogma 2. Those like Mao Zedong created powerful cults of personality that killed millions. How'd they do it? Find out by clicking on this episode. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching China Uncensored.